All right.
Hello, hello, hello. We are always happy to be here. Another Tuesday talk with Tammy. I'm Lori Beard and I'm a co-host with Tammy. How are you, Tammy?
Good morning. So, welcome to our show. And I'm doing much better. So, I'm starting to feel much better. So, I appreciate you asking, Lori. So, and how are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm great. Very happy to learn from Karin. We have her here. Tell us where you're coming from, Karin.
Well, good morning, Lori and Tammy. Very happy to be here. Thank you for having me. So right now I'm in the beautiful Coachella Valley in Southern California, and my location is La Quinta, which is really kind of an art mecca. I'm really happy to be creating in the desert. And yes, it's a beautiful place to spend the winters for sure.
I actually have stayed in La Quinta before. It's been many, many years ago, but I have been there.
Yes,
It was
it's
probably at
lovely.
least, gosh, I guess we won't say because it's been so long. So, but I want to say welcome to everyone here and welcome, Ike. So it's great seeing you and it's great seeing everyone. And be sure to comment, like, and share. So we appreciate it. And if you have questions, be sure to ask.
I
So,
have
and
a
good
question
morning,
for,
Kiki.
yeah, Kiki. So I have a question. How is it living over there as an artist? Do you have some kind of competition pressure, or is it just lovely because then you're surrounded by like-minded people and each of you share your different talents and ways you
Yeah.
create art? How is it?
Well,
Um,
it's a combination of all those things you just said, Lori. Certainly, it's beautiful. We are surrounded by beautiful tropics, if you will, because palm trees, Egyptian palms, manila palms, date palms are casting shadows and up against the juxtaposition of the Santa Rosa Mountains. So it's striking. But also, it is a vibrant art community here. I'm really thrilled to be able to teach at this gorgeous art center in La Quinta that's called the Old Town Artisan Studios, and it's a really vibrant place for the beauty of art to come out in every individual who walks on that campus. But actually, I bought some of my paintings today because we're having a large art festival that's coming up this week. It's the Coachella Valley Watercolor Society. There'll be over 300 paintings. I'll be entering eight. It's a competition and also just a celebration of the arts. So many people are painting here because, well, the landscape's dramatic, and you can be outside doing it because we have balmy blue skies most of the time, and gardens and color, even in the midst of the desert's neutral tones. But I'll be glad to show you a few of my paintings when that opportunity comes here today.
Of course. So let's back up here a little bit. I want to hear your story of how you got started as to become an artist because as growing up, we're all told, oh, there's no such thing as a working art, you're going to be a starving artist. Everybody always downplayed it in school and different places on there's no way you can make money with it and all this stuff. So I want to hear that, but at the same time, I want to do shout outs, right, Lori? Do you want to shout out real quick?
yes, shout out to Sandra. She's here. Aika, Susan Jimenez, Kiki, like Tammy said. Carol Helding is here. And then Buffy. And I want to know if these are some of your friends, Corinne.
Yes,
Uh,
I do know some of those names, and welcome, my friends. I'm glad to have you on board.
and also welcome to our group. I hope you're here to stay. This is an uplifting and wonderful group. Tammy, we just heard yesterday I don't know if to call it a review or just a message from someone's heart saying that this person was down, and just by hearing our voices and the messaging that we were sharing in one of our broadcasts, it lifted her up, right, Tammy?
Yes.
And it's just
So
so comforting and just rewarding to know that our episodes, our segments make people happy.
yeah, and we'd
That's
love
wonderful.
to be able to inspire. So
Yeah,
back to
I
my
agree.
question, Karen,
Okay,
how did you get started?
sure, sure. Well, I think
We
creativity
want
was
your life
always,
story.
yes, my life story. Well, in a nutshell, if you will, I always did feel creative, making something with my hands from macrame or whatever I could get myself into as a younger child. But then one day, discovering a big, beautiful trunk in my grandmother's intriguing attic, I opened it up, and there were beautiful pieces of art my mother had done in her school years. And I was so taken that she created art, and it was glorious. But it was hidden in a trunk, and I thought, okay, art needs to come out in the world. I want to do what my mother did. I want to paint and make a statement with color and expression. But I think I want to have it out in the world. Let's put it in the, where I can teach it or display it. And so I began my quest to learn and take it. I have a degree in art, a BFA from Southern Oregon State in Ashland, Oregon. And I began my venture as an artist. Tammy's right, you do everything to survive as an artist. So I not only was in galleries in Portland, Oregon, but I owned my own gallery in the Pearl District in Portland for a period of time. And I taught at a beautiful college, which is called Marylhurst College and ultimately university, for about a dozen years. And maybe the most fun that I developed in it was that I took art and cultural tours into the world where art history was prevalent. This is Europe and into Latin America. And we painted on site. We enjoyed the beauty of nature and land and architecture and put it all together in vignette work and small paintings. And so I toured a lot during the 90s. That was my main time. And yes, and then life changed. And I went off to buy a business with my husband in Maui, and I designed for a long time. I love designing also, interiors and space planning at that time. Well, now we're back on the mainland. We retired that business, and I'm giving back by teaching, just sharing the knowledge I gained through my years as an artist. But down in this beautiful Coachella Valley, you can't miss the activity everywhere. So now I'm involved in the Desert Plein Air Society that shows work in exhibitions, and the Watercolor Society, which has got so many people excited about art. And I'm in a gallery, Desert Art Center in Palm Springs. So you just can't miss it. There's lots going on.
So I think it's great that it was actually your mom inspired you without even knowing it by buying that treasure box you found in the attic.
Yeah.
Those little things that can inspire us.
Yes, I never forgot the moment when I opened the lid of that big box, and inside were truly treasures. They were beautiful. But Mom, she kind of kept it as her, little hidden secret, but because she was busy raising a family of 3 children. But boy, what an admiration for her creativity. And I thought, you never want to let that creativity go unseen or unheard. And it inspired me to step forth in that whole pursuit. It's wonderful.
So who inspired you probably the most to go into this direction into your art?
As far as in the painting world we go?
Yes.
Well, certainly she was doing the painting and drawing. At the time too, I think, like many people, I was just intrigued by the beauty of how art interpreted things around you, that the artist could express himself in general. So even in our theme of nature and art, you're just having that chance to respond to what you see and have an emotional experience by putting it on paper. So much more than just reporting. I think just the generally idea of responding, and as much as the Impressionists and Post-Impressionists, it led the way to break out new territory, and I've always been intrigued by them. But I think the patterns of light and shadow have caught my interest and got me outside to see what's happening with the way light moves through our house, our lives, I guess our homes, and how that makes an imprint. So I was going to say, one of the paintings I did, I can show you. Maybe, can I show you? Can you see it?
Yes. Yeah, go for it. And if you guys notice, this painting is the one I used for the quote today.
Yeah. So this painting, as you can see, light and shadow is a lot of fun. And a lot of it is my interpretation of it. But that's where I think, great art begins when nature ends. And that only means nature gives us its imprint and its beauty, and then we get to interpret and respond to it. And so we make it our own by the way we feel about it.
Is that watercolor?
Yes, that's watercolor.
It's beautiful. I started playing with watercolor, and of course, I went way beyond my level. But even then, it was fun for my first choice. That is beautiful. I love that.
So here's a little something I did that is plein air. Just can you see? It's just so much of our big sky and then our sort of soft tundra golds and so forth. I'll show you one or two, since these are going in the art show, and that way you sort of know what's happening in my world. I'll do one more.
One thing while you're looking for your art is that people are saying and praising you, Carol, because you're a great friend and loving and kind. So it says a lot about you, what people are sharing about you.
Oh, about myself?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Well, that's very much appreciated. I'm glad to see this. These are our Santa Rosa Mountains, and I'm calling this one because it's more golden, and we're having a full moon during that time. I'm calling it Waiting on the Moon. So
oh, nice.
Those colors. So that's some of my pieces. I'll put it over here. So, and then
Corinne just actually judged an art show last weekend. So
I did. So so that art show is a national art show that came to our parks, and it's called La Quinta Art Celebration. There had to be 500 or 600 artists, but painting, glass, ceramics, sculpture. But I was judging, one of the judges for the painting. Oh my goodness, I so admire people who bring their work from across the land, set up these big beautiful tents, and then stand there and promote their artistic expression one by one. It's a big task, a lot to admire for sure. Love the work. So many people finding their gift in art. And so I enjoy judging it for best of show and category for painting. And
what is the criteria? How and how hard is it to judge, or easy?
Well, you're looking for a variety of things. Well, certainly technique and expression of their technique and their emotional response to what their work is doing. Then you look for things like how well their booth is presented, and themselves, how they engage with people coming through the festival, so that the art is approachable and meaningful. But you definitely looking for unique talents. And there's a little bit of a difference between the artist who maybe got a good stamp, and that stamp was nice, where he stamps everything out the same. That's a little more production. Sometimes that happens in these shows. And then you have the artists that every piece is original and unique, and they're expressing their heart from what they feel is a way that their creative spirit works. And I like the person who challenged themselves with a lot of different kinds of ways of expressing their art, not just a similar one that's repeated over and over because they were successful with one painting, then they wanted to do 45 more, so we kind of separate that out a little bit.
So people are in awe. They're saying lovely art pieces. Another comment says that's beautiful. And then another comment says, your art reminds me of my mom's art. She passed in February of 2020. That's our dear Aika. We're so sorry, but hopefully her art stays here as a legacy for you to remember her. And then Sandra says, let me see, says, I lost that comment. You have it,
how you
Tammy?
play with the light and the colors.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, I appreciate that. I think that's one of my motivating forces, how the light plays in our lives. And I have to say, I've grown up in the Pacific Northwest, the Portland area. I've always thought it was the most beautiful place in the world, for sure. I love the Four Seasons and so forth. But I started traveling, particularly during the winter time, and I found myself in Greece and in southern Italy, where the light was just abundant and the colors were vibrant. And I must say it played a big role in how different our light is as we go around this glorious world of ours, and how it plays differently with our environment. And I think after that, light and color became an extraordinarily exciting thing for me. And maybe that's my response, that I just find that light and color, of course, that's the dance and the interplay, is pretty doggone exciting.
So what is your favorite place that you've traveled to? I mean, it sounds like many, but or name three of your favorites.
Well, okay, I'm going to start with Santorini, Greece, just because it's so spectacular. And you're up on a caldera looking down into, you know, or you're on the rim looking down into the caldera. And they say that's where the city of Atlantis is actually in the middle of that Aegean Sea. Maybe it is, maybe not. But it's spectacular. Um, you see for so many miles of beautiful terrain and just how the islands fade away into the horizon, and you turn back and everything's whitewashed with blue doors and red gates, and stunning color. And I think just really it was such a unique culture and so different. It was quite wonderful. But I also, of course, am in love with Italy, and all the central Italy. Well, from the lakes on down, it's full of art history that is so revered, and culture kind of looking back to traditions. And it's fun to paint the countryside in Italy. Who doesn't want to sit at a cafe and maybe you have a really nice latte here and a little vignette in your hand and you're painting away. And so those two stand out. But I guess if I may say one more, down in southern Mexico, both Oaxaca is full of art and culture, and it's stunning what the people do, whether they're making animals with fanciful color, or they're weaving rugs in Teotihuacan, or they're doing black clay pottery. I mean, the spirit of the creativity down there is just, it's in everyone's heart. So yeah, I love that too.
That's amazing. I love you sharing these stories because I visualize everything and picture it.
Yeah.
But what's amazing is in all these places, what you see is the musing nature.
Yes.
That's their inspiration. And it's like looking at your art, we can tell where she gets her inspiration, right?
Well, yes, the landscape is pretty hard to avoid. It's right, it's all around us. And I think if you slow down and start just enjoying the moment, I teach this in my classes that there's two sides of our brains working. The left side is our verbal side, and it gets us through life by analyzing and even calling out what we see. A hand, a tree, a rock. It's an instant recognition. But you just can't paint and draw it with that instant moment. You need the right side of the brain that slows down to look at form and line and light and shadow, and to actually begin to understand it and describe it. Well, the right brain needs a chance to flourish, and it flourishes better when the left brain is quieted. So I like to get my students to try to turn off their left brain. Don't think about all the rattling of days and structure, and go into this right brain, which is really looking into light, form, and edge. So I always say that you never know anything as well as you do once you've drawn it. And it's true. If you want to know what a leaf looks like or a flower, sit down and draw it. And now suddenly it's yours forever because it's in your mind, and it's the your little library of images I create. I like to have them create. So that's what
I get very nervous when I try something like that. I'm not an artist or in this artistic painting and all that, like you and Tammy, and there's nothing wrong because each of us have our strengths and things like that. And I get when I experiment or have had the opportunity to experiment, I get very nervous, and there's some kind of anxiety that comes on wanting to have this perfect masterpiece at the end when
Yes.
I'm not there yet because I haven't polished or refined or practiced this
Right.
skill so much. So I like that recommendation you do, like allow yourself to just enjoy the process.
So
Yeah.
there are exercises you can do to help that left brain take off all of that judgment of whether you're liking what you're doing at that moment or you're judging it. So I have people do things like a blind drawing. So they look at their hand, but they're drawing behind them and they can't see it. So it slows your brain down to watch how your hand and your eye move together. And the left brain doesn't like that because you can't see the blind drawing. So it starts to get quieter. And the right brain gets stronger, thinking, well, I need to see the angle of the line and where it bumps into another line. And that gets the right brain kind of its place of discovery. And also you can turn something upside down and try to draw it upside down. So it gives you, once again, it gives your brain a chance to look at form, line, and shape, and really discover how beautiful that is. And it's one of the things I teach. And people love it because it's turning off the judgmental left brain and just going into the discoveries of the right brain.
In other words, it's an ability or a skill that can be developed once you let go of those things that inhibits
Yes.
you. I want to ask you something about the process of finding that treasure chest. If we liken that to people right now, they're not, you were a little girl, right? You were a child.
Yes.
But if healing that inner child or letting that child in us come out to play and have fun, what is your recommendation for our audience that are hesitant to try something new or let part of their talents that they have put to sleep for a while or discover new talents in the context of opening that treasure box? Like, what is your recommendation for them to give themselves an opportunity to try it out?
Well, it's certainly a good pursuit to try to find an opportunity to open that door, that's new creative door in a person. So part of it is to start very small and very simple, and don't take on the Grand Canyon on your first painting. I had a teacher tell me that in high school. You don't need to paint the whole Grand Canyon. A rock or two will be fine, or one tree or a twig. And because that's more intimate and chance to relate more to what you're seeing. But also, I would say, I would encourage people to take drawing classes. People necessarily think that drawing class is where all the fun is, but it is a lot of fun when you learn how to draw. And that is a teachable skill. So I always say, if you have enough dexterity, which most of us do, to write the alphabet, you've got enough dexterity to use that pencil to create a drawing. And it's just learning the tools. Most of us quit taking classes in art somewhere in our youth, so we don't have the tools. But it'd be like me jumping into, play a piano concerto when I love a piano concerto. I'd love to be a part of it, but I don't have the tools to play it. But if I start slowly and learn the scales, it will start coming to me. And so I would say learn to draw. And I teach drawing. I even have gentlemen who are retired and now they want to fill their days with something a little different, and they come in petrified to the class, and they leave smiling because they've learned that it's a skill they can do. You learn value, that's the range of light to dark, and you learn how to use your pencil in a more fluid, lyrical way. You start understanding shape and form and quality of line, and you apply those things, and voila, you create a page that's dimensional, and it's fun.
It is, it's like in my drawing classes, a lot of times I'll go and volunteer at one of the grade schools here, because a friend's a kindergarten teacher, and I teach them how to take a stick figure and turn it into a person.
Oh yeah, that's
kindergarten
great.
kids, right?
Yeah.
But when you teach just some of those simple steps, it helps give them the confidence to reach out, right? To do more, to be more creative and more productive. And a lot of times even our crafts and different things, you can get so creative with them because you just have fun. And going back to what Karin was talking about, when you're practicing, trying new things, don't be afraid to try different mediums, different styles, different mediums, or to draw differently, to try to, that's where we find our own styles. I remember once, because I love Bev Doolittle and Julie Kramer Cole. They're great artists at hiding things in the rocks or their trees.
Yes.
And so I took a painting of Julie Kramer Cole's, a print, and I copied it just so I could learn how she came up with her technique and how she did it. Doesn't mean I have it, I do it now, but I wanted to learn how to do it. So, it's like there's just like so many ways, and I love it. Like you said, Corinne, adults are what I found, adults are, especially when it comes to color. When I've taught art, we're afraid to use color.
Yes.
For some reason, where kids would mix and no problem,
Yeah.
But and adults would draw a little bit more, but when it came to color, they had a fear.
They had
Do
a
you
fear.
find that with your students or no?
Well, I work a lot with the color wheel. I love the color wheel, and I love the basics that the primaries, your yellow, blue, and red, especially if you have a warm and cool red, blue, and yellow, you can mix the entire rainbow. The whole spectrum of colors is at your will with three basic colors, the primary. So we talk about that. But I wanted to say that yes, when you think about the great museums all through Europe, you'll always see people painting in there, copying the masters, learning their technique, and then they go and apply the pieces, little pearls that work for them for their own style outside of that. And we do that too. Earlier, you're asking me about people who may have inspired me, and so now, of course, it comes to me some of the really yummy artists. And if you know of Winslow Homer or the Andrew Wyeth family, which are several Andrew Wyeth, Andrew and his son, and then also I like oh, his name just escaped me. I'll think of it in a minute. But people like Winslow Homer, which he has beautiful soft colors, lots of light and color, but he's a watercolorist. Oh, John Singer Sargent. I don't know if people know of him, but he's worth looking up. He is a dynamic painter. He was in the 1800s to the early 1900s, but yes, he set the tone for stunning, vibrant, beautiful watercolors. When in the world of painting, it was only on canvas with oils, and watercolors weren't respected for a long time. We're still striving for our respect in the world. But John Singer Sargent was a tremendous one to break through and show the power of art and watercolor. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah. There's like you said, there's so many artists out there, so many great artists, but
mhm.
but like what Karin was saying, when you're trying to find, you don't want to be a copy of every other person out there. You
Right,
want to find
right.
your own style. And then it doesn't matter what business or what you're in, you need to find your own niche, your own style. When I see artists just copying and then sharing theirs, like they were the first one that created that painting, and yet I know who they copied. I'm
Yeah.
just like going,
Yeah, not so much. Yeah, not so
not
much.
so much,
Find your own pearls. Find your own. I think
Or
too.
like you said, when they could just do the same thing over and over. And if you go out in nature, nature is so creative.
I
Every
know.
rock, everything is so just slightly different,
Yes,
right?
so varied. It's true. So I teach a lot now, and I love it. And I just wanted to say about the individual spirit. So, well, everyone in my class, although we're doing the same project, has such a unique interpretation of it. So the way I like to teach is to give information, techniques, and I demonstrate so people can see my brushwork and how I apply the steps. So there it is, a project. I bring them even a template so they don't worry about drawing in my painting class. That's a separate class. I like to have them work on drawing skills. But anyway, a template to draw, my demonstration. I even show the primary colors and how they mix for secondary colors, and everyone's got that. And then at the end of the class, we put all the paintings up every time and speak on them and positive critiques about what we've done. And each one is unique, you absolutely a different take. Their hand is different, their motion is different, their color tones are different, and it's really exciting for everyone in the class to see the individuality, and it empowers them to know their painting also is right in there with its own creative spirit, their own creative walk, and it's empowering for the artist. So
Mhm. I think it will be empowering for me, and I'm sure you're a great teacher. I have here Mona saying that they're
oh,
great. They're grateful to start her journey with Corinne and gain the foundation of watercolor art from you.
oh
So
wow,
I'm
that's
sure
so
you've
special.
touched so many lives with
Yeah,
helping them have a
mom.
better ease into it, right? Lean
Yeah.
and ease into the process that you guide them to
And may I
starting.
speak with Mona about Mona? She's very dear to me, and we started years ago in painting, but she was just getting an understanding of it and trying all my different exercises and going through the process. But now she's on her own painting, and she has a very lovely, delicate, transparent feeling that is really capture the essence of her response to nature. She uses reeds or just light flower botanicals, but with a lot of transparency and delicacy. And her paintings are uniquely her own and so beautiful. So bravo, Mona.
Yes. So and that's so sweet. And like I was telling Corinne yesterday, is I sometimes will hire like my grandkids or my daughter to work with me just to come up with even different ideas, when it comes to art. So because I don't always, sometimes you get, especially if it comes to logos, I hired my grandkids. I paid them to come up with my ideas, just to give me that inspiration because I wanted to see what, like you said, where their minds go. Because
Mm-hmm.
everybody's just slightly different. And that's what's so wonderful is being able to see everybody's talents
Yes.
and creativity, and that's what's fun about, like you said, for teaching. When you see somebody, your students just thriving and seeing what they're seeing with their minds and creating, there's just something special about it.
Oh,
And like Ike says, it makes sense since we all perceive reality differently to based on our experiences in life. And then also Sandra said, I find that it's amazing how a piece of art can set the mood for a room or environment.
wow, so true. Thanks for saying that, Sandra. We always say get your art first and then build your home around it. So,
I tell my clients that I just like a lot of times, even when I'm working on some of my pieces, like the 22-foot piece that I did, they weren't done with their home. But the wall, it would have been actually easier if they would have hired me before they were completely finished.
oh,
Sometimes, because they had wanted to put real water into the waterfall,
oh
but
my
we couldn't
goodness.
do it because they had electricity. So
Uh,
I had to just create a fake waterfall. But if they wanted to, they actually would have plumbed it. So a full
oh,
waterfall would have dripped down
stunning. Yeah.
So, but
Great.
yeah, as like you said, Corinne, it's like, yeah, buy your piece of art because that piece of art helps with decorating your
Yeah.
colors and
Yeah.
stuff too.
I'll
You
show
know.
you another daring one. It's a little out of my palette range, but you see, this is kind of abstracted, and
Mm.
it's actually the San Andreas Fault. So, here in the desert, we're not too far from this big fault. You can look over and see some of the San Bernardino Mountains behind it. But I just wanted to show you, this is an example of taking watercolor and making it my own. So art begins where nature ends. These aren't exactly the colors that were in front of me, but it was the emotion and the drama that I wanted to get with referring to the fault. So I guess maybe some of the wrap up statements that I want to make is make it your own. Remember, when you're in the world, you get to respond, not report. Nothing has to be that closely examined that you can't turn it into your own choice, color and desire of shape and form. And there's lots to learn. So come take a class.
So
Yeah.
not sure if Tammy, you read this one, what Carol said, her comment about Corinne enjoying and respecting abstract art. She also creates abstract art, and thank you for showing that one, especially nice semi-abstract landscapes. Yay! And I'm so glad you showed that one. And Aika said that the art you just showed is beautiful. So thank you so much. I just love the fact that you have some peace about it. You're very sure about your talent, about how it all started, opening that treasure box, and also developing that skill, enjoying it, and now helping others accomplish the same and share your talents by helping others develop their talents. Anything else you would like to say to our community, our audience?
Just that in any expression, we're always growing and changing and learning, and we never stop. And that's part of the excitement of what art can open up the door for, whether it's sculptures, wall reliefs, painting. It's a constant learning process, and that's the beauty of keeping our lives so meaningful, and it's good for us as just human beings to respond to the world around us and learn about it. I'm still taking workshops from other artists that I've gotten to know, who work around the country. And I love learning their techniques. And then little pearls of them come to help assist me in my learning, which is never ending. And so I say, no matter where you are in your life, there's always an art class close by, and I just say, join it. There was a thing about adding 7.5 years to your life. It was from Jane Fonda. She put up a big broadcast and said, after all the studies and all the things one could do, how do you add 7.5 years to your life? And it said art classes. So art classes. So, yeah, I could end with that.
So, I mean, I was going to throw out this. One of the things that I always loved, even as young, and I still do it a lot, is looking up at the sky.
Oh yeah, right.
Because the sky teaches us so many things
Mm-hmm.
from the shapes of the clouds to the different views. And it's like a sunset hues can go from like a pastel colors to
Yeah,
very, very vibrant. And sometimes your camera, when you're taking those pictures, doesn't always capture. So you do have to adjust it to what it was like when you saw it.
really.
Or like we get the northern lights up here. And so
Oh,
being able to look at those, or like you said, the moon, the star, there's so many different things.
mm-hmm.
So to me, studying even the sky is a great start. A lot of times that's what I have my students paint, my younger students, when they're
Mm-hmm.
afraid of working with color, is just painting a sky.
So I just took a workshop from an incredibly talented watercolor artist named Jeffrey Allen. He lives in Encinitas, Southern California. And it was a Zoom class I took. I don't get these very often, but I got this one in my schedule so I could. And it was called Paint the Skies, quote, the Other Landscape. And it was so much fun. That's where, once again, this is the first one, cumulus clouds and how they recede away from you and they're puffier above you. And we went
That's
all the way.
kind of one of the ones that was making me think about it. And then I'm looking outside and
Yeah. And all the way to sunsets. The last one we did was just bright oranges and yellows in the sky and purples. So the gamut. But yes, the skies are always there for us. And whether they're cloudy or clear or storming or sunrise, sunset, it's never ending. And it's never the same. So,
no, and it can change, like you said, within seconds.
yes, yes, that's the excitement of it. So the other landscape. If you're ever curious of what to do, just look up.
Yes. So yeah, so I'm one of those that stares at the skies besides tree hugging.
Yeah.
And I know Corinne likes to go hiking as well, right? Nature is one of your outlets.
Oh, well, absolutely. And nature is where you feel the energy and the genesis of life and
Mm.
just the power of that life. And it's good for our bodies to be out there. Plus, it's soothing and good oxygen and just moving our bodies and using our bodies well to do something we love. It's so many layers of benefits. But there is an energy when you get out into all that beautiful life, animal and plants and trees and water moving. It's all, yes, it's all part of what makes our life more healthy. And we always feel it more peaceful generally once we've had a hike, be it the woods or the desert. Take your water with you either way. Never
Well,
want to
and
get
I love it, Corinne, because you bring the outdoors in your painting, in your art. I
yeah,
see it, like in the ones behind you.
right.
And that's what makes a home feel more homey.
Mm-hmm.
Corinne and I were talking yesterday. When you use the earth tones, the colors, which are like in her paintings, you
Mm-hmm.
find your home is more relaxing.
Yes, yes, that's right. So bring the nature in. And well, that's where, once again, our art begins because we get to interpret it and make it our own and respond to it. I think of artists, particularly new artists, if they think that they can just respond in any way that feels good to that moment that they're putting their hand with a brush on the paper. It's not a reporting, it's not a recording, it's just a response. And responding is lovely and trust that response little bit more. So I say to everyone, art is a great reprieve of the rest of life. You can jump into your art world and have a special place you can go that gives you a sense of renewal and it's a really good feeling. So,
And one of the things I want to throw out there is it's okay to make a mistake. It's
oh yeah,
okay to use the wrong color. I don't know how many
yeah,
times I've painted over something or tossed a painting or something
right.
aside because it's like, that's not me. But I've repainted skies, I don't know how many different times or added things or taken things off. Because it's a learning process. And like Corinne said, as artists, I'm always learning every single time I'm working on an art piece. Every single day I
Uh-huh.
learn something new. And I look forward to learning something new, you know?
Yes, yes, I do too. And I think you're right. In my drawing class, particularly, I always say our eraser is one of our best tools and our handiest friend. And it's part of the drawing process to take away, make changes, erase out highlights, change edges. The eraser is important. And in painting, yes, one response goes down, and then you realize you have a little different take on it, to let it dry, and then paint over the top of it, and you get layers of interest you may never have known you could create, but it's deeper because of the changes.
So here's a little tip though. If you're one of those people that presses really hard when you're drawing, makes it
Oh,
much harder to erase. So that's one of the things I always have taught in the art
yeah,
lessons is to press lightly till
yes.
you
So I
barely.
say you hold your pencil back further and you use your whole hand. It's not like you're writing, your name. You hold it back here and allows you to see what you're doing and a lighter touch. And you use different leads in your pencil to get light to darker lead on the page. And it's a different way of expressing your movement with the pencil. Anyway,
Well, maybe you and Tammy need to do that. Maybe we need to do a class together or something because this is amazing. I would love to learn from you. I would need to give myself that opportunity, that way of expression. When you were saying about the eraser, I would just thought about backspace, right? Or delete
Yes,
in the computer as in the writing process, right? So it's the same
right.
thing. It's okay for us to make mistakes, and delete and continue. So thank you so much for being here, Corinne. I can tell the love you have for this and how many lives you have touched just with the people that have been here watching live. I want to say hello to Olivia as well. She's saying hello, lovelies, and I say hello back. And some people say that they prefer photography over painting because
There you
that's
go.
just another
That's
way to
okay. It's all
capture
good. It's all
capture
good.
nature.
It is, and we're gonna have to have somebody on here that does a lot of photography besides me. It's like I noticed my granddaughter, and I noticed the pictures. It doesn't matter always how good your camera is. It's how you're taking those photos, how you're placing those objects in, which is an art lesson itself, right, Corinne?
Yes, it
You
is.
know,
It is.
to make it interesting, so because you can make stuff interesting, and
Yeah.
it's all how you take that photo.
Oh,
Sometimes you have to bend
absolutely.
down, you have to
Yes.
move to the side. There's just different ways.
Yeah.
So
And many artists who are painting with a brush start out their gathering of their imaging and their ideas through photography. They'll be hiking away, and you can't sit down and paint your big canvas right then and there, but photos capture it. And yes, the photo is stunning, what it can bring back to your world. And you can use two or three of those photos to create an image. Pick the best parts out of each one and accumulate a nice design. And so I think photography and painting go hand in hand. It's a creative eye.
yes, definitely.
Yes.
So, and we want to say hi to Renee as well, I guess is watching. So, and let's see. Ike said, I love interpreting art with others. I have to make us open our minds to different views.
And
Good.
Ike also said earlier, you sound so very patient, like Tammy.
Oh, well, that's good. I hope so. Well, yes, I think part of being in an art world too is encouraging the other artists around you, other people working on their art, to find whatever it is that is their stroke, their hand, their eye, and build upon that. Not everyone is going to be, well, not everyone wants to be a Picasso, that's for sure, but everyone's going to be a Rembrandt. And so I think it's fun to be in a community where you see someone making something happen, and maybe they have areas that are not quite feeling as comfortable, but there's something there, a color they use or a stroke, and build upon their strengths, and it just burgeons to be a catalyst for encouraging art is an incredible thing. And anyway, that's part of my campaign of what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, and I love this comment that Ike wrote. I love to learn about different people's art, like Chelsea, who creates sea pearl candles, which is my daughter.
Oh, yeah.
She does beautiful job. Or there's Carrie on her skincare line, which her products are wonderful too. Or Lori in your writing. And she said,
Very
as me
sweet.
as a master pieces, etc. So thank you for that, Ike. So we love all of your participation. It's going by so fast. We're going to have Corinne back or do something special. I've actually met Corinne in person.
Yay.
She's my niece at my niece's graduation. Her brother, we're family. Just
Yeah, we're family. That's good. We're family. We love
and
that.
Corinne is as nice as she appears.
Oh, thank you.
So I loved Corinne when I first met her and her husband. They're very, very sweet.
Aw,
So
thank
Corinne
you.
is everything that she is portraying. So
Well,
Fish,
I
I love
appreciate the same about
I
being.
love her quote that Tammy posted with her art now. That I wrote in the comment that is the art created by you, Corinne, and I agree with that. And let's just leave with this message that you shared. Great art picks up where nature ends, and I love that. And I love how you manifest that and demonstrated it with your art. Thank you for the inspiring advice, inspiring teaching that you've shared today. And we want to wish you the best, all the success in what you're doing already,
Thank you.
and touching more
Thank
people's
you.
lives.
Well,
Yes.
thank you so much. And thank you for the pleasure and the honor to be here on your wonderful program, Unlocking Freedom in Nature. The whole concept is just good to our hearts and good to our souls. And I'm glad to have a chance to be part of it.
well, it was
You're
our
welcome.
honor. And it was our honor to have all of our guests here following and commenting today. We thank you so much for that. We want to inspire you to go grab a paintbrush, go have some fun, or go on a nature walk.
Yeah.
Be sure to like. I will be putting up the YouTube video here later this week. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out our website, unlockingfreedominnature.com if you haven't. But again, thank you for being here.
And thank you. Thank you so much, my friends.
You're welcome.
So nice to have these friends in life, and we keep expanding and exploring that. And isn't that the great gift?
Yes.
It is. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye,
See you
everyone.
next week. Bye.